HQN and HarlequinAudio present Just His Luck by B.J. Daniels, performed by Todd Mclaren. Chapter 1. Another scream rose in her throat as the icy water rushed in around her. She fought to free herself, but the ropes that bound her wrists to the steering wheel held tight, chafing her skin until it tore and bled. Her throat was raw from screaming, while outside the car, the wind kicked up whitecaps on the pond. The waves lapped at the windows. Inside the car, water rose around her feet, before climbing up her legs to lap at her waist. She pleaded for help as the water began to rise up her chest. But anyone who might have helped her was back at the high school graduation party she'd just left. If only she'd stayed at the party. If only she hadn't burned so many bridges earlier tonight. If only... As the water lapped against her throat, she screamed, even though she knew no one was coming to her rescue. Certainly not the person standing on the shore watching. The pond was outside of town, away from everything. She knew now that was why her killer had chosen it. Worse, no one would be looking for her. Not after the way she'd behaved when she'd left the party. "You're big on torturing people," her killer had said. "Not so much fun when the shoe is on the other foot, huh?" More than half drunk, the bitter taste of betrayal in her mouth, she'd wanted to beg for her life. But her pride wouldn't let her. As her hands were bound to the steering wheel, she tried to convince herself that the only reason this was happening was to scare her. No one would actually kill her. Not even someone she'd bullied at school. She was Ariel Matheson. Everyone wanted to be her friend. Everyone wanted to be her, a sexy, spoiled rich girl. No one hated her enough to go through with this. Even when the car had been pushed into the pond, she told herself that her new baby blue SUV wouldn't sink. Or, if it did, the water wouldn't be deep enough that she'd drown. The dank water splashed into her face. Frantic, she tried to sit up higher, but the seatbelt and the rope on her wrists held her down. The car lurched under her as it wallowed, almost full of water, on the rough surface of the pond. Waves washed over the windshield, obscuring the lights of Whitefish, Montana, as the SUV slowly began to sink, and she felt the last few minutes of her life slipping away. She spit out a mouthful and told herself that this wasn't happening. Things like this didn't happen to her. This was not the way her life would end. It couldn't be. Panic made her suck in another mouthful of awful-tasting water. She tried to hold her breath as she told herself that she was destined for so much more. The girl most likely to end up with everything she wanted, it said in her yearbook. Bubbles rose around her as the car filled to the headliner, forcing her to let out the breath she'd been holding. This was real. This wasn't just to scare her. The last thing she saw before the SUV sank the rest of the way was her killer standing on the bank in the dark night, watching her die. Would anyone miss her? Mourn her? She'd made so many enemies. Would anyone even come looking for her in the days ahead? Her parents would think that she'd run away. Her friends... Fury replaced her fear. They thought she was a bitch before. As water filled her lungs, she swore that if she had to do it over, she'd make them all pay. 10 years later. As Lizzy walked around the desk and sat down in the large leather chair, she gave up trying to hide her grin. Sheriff Elizabeth Conners. By
Sample complete. Ready to continue?